FM News Talk 97.1.
On demand audio. You're listening to Allman in the Morning. Common Sense Radio.
Good morning, you bunch of drunks.
Well, I know you just heard the promo for the big, for Armageddon, but on TV I'm watching a collapsed crane. So I don't know. Oh, and a fire. There's a fire in Queens. 50 homes on fire in Queens and people without power and water, but I'm seeing a collapsed crane. So, again, I'm not playing down the damage when you are there, but it certainly wasn't what they said it was going to be. But is that any surprise to anybody, really? And is it a situation, for instance, for Andrea Mitchell, of all people? Although it doesn't surprise me at all.
What a horrible woman she is.
That she would be calling for some kind of... And she is in this one. She's not asking the question. She wants to postpone the inevitable drubbing of her man, you know?
We've seen in the past situations where power is not restored in our own region here for days, for more than a week, for 10 days. What happens if we get to election day and they don't have power, which you need for many of these election booths, for the voting booths, which you need for people to get to the polls? Is there any precedent for doing something such as postponing a national election?
Yes, please, Lord. Any chance we could postpone the election? Hi, Don. Thanks for calling the show. How are you?
It's fine.
What's up, man?
I live out here in Lake St. Louis, and I guess we still live in the dark ages because we have to use black magic markers to go ahead and register our vote.
Yeah, but you got to plug it in first, don't you?
No, yeah, right. We have never seen any of these electronic voting machines.
I know. I mean, listen, I realize there are electronic voting machines, but Don used the black magic marker in Lake St. Louis. I had a caller earlier at Fort Leonard Wood who used a pencil. So much for that, Andrea. Sorry about that. Sorry, my dear. Now, another MSNBC. Oh, MSNBC had a field day yesterday with this whole thing. They figured out a way that they were going to try to shoehorn this whole storm into a negative for Mitt Romney, and they found it by digging up this piece of videotape from the debates, and it's about FEMA. And here's how they kind of basically began the whole deal here.
Perhaps voters will be wondering how a President Romney might handle the very same situation.
Pause this for a second. Just want to let Alex Wagner, the anchoress there who is on MSNBC, know that actually a lot of us are not wondering how President Romney would handle a disaster like this. In fact, a lot of us are hoping that if we do have a President Romney, we get to the point where the President of the United States has nothing to do with a hurricane or a tornado or anything else weather-related in any way, shape, or form. We continue.
One indication comes from a primary debate in June of last year when Governor Romney made the case for shutting down FEMA and passing the responsibility onto the states.
FEMA's about to run out of money, and there are some people who say do it on a case-by-case basis, and some people who say, maybe we're learning a lesson here that the states should take on more of this role. How do you deal with something like that?
Absolutely. Every time you have an occasion to take something from the federal government and send it back to the states, that's the right direction.
Yeah, and I loved how they termed it shutting down FEMA. And, of course, they want to play this all day long today, and they were hoping actually for even more of a disaster so we could actually blow back on Romney even more. Because in the end, what Alex Wagner was hoping was, that this was actually what they were looking for. The
October surprise is here.
Yeah, right. Hey, sweetie, no, it's not. It's going to be the November surprise to all of you at MSNBC. I wouldn't talk too much about the October surprise. Anyway, that tape, when Lawrence O'Donnell was on this panel, there were all a bunch of 4 of them or 5 of them, and Lawrence O'Donnell was there, and he all but just simply laid it out and said, we're going to just play that tape all day long.
That video obviously is going to be on a loop on this network and others for the next couple of days.
Yes, because the president's busy with FEMA, apparently, and so he's not really going to be campaigning, so MSNBC is dutifully going to be campaigning for him by attacking Romney. Now, of course, Romney has been told by the media that if he dares, don't you dare get out there and campaign at this time of mass suffering in the United States like this, you big, mean Republican. But let me tell you something. If MSNBC is going to be playing this tape all day long and Romney's not able to respond to it, like, for instance, if Romney responds to it or Romney points out what he said about FEMA, is he going to be seen as dastardly? Are they going to criticize him for daring to campaign at this time of national mourning over Hurricane Sandy? I don't know. MSNBC just shot its wad completely yesterday when they had the whole Joe Scarborough, Mika Brzezinski interview with Barack Obama over Benghazi. This was sweet.
I do take offense, as I've said during one of the debates, with some suggestion that, in any way we haven't tried to make sure that the American people knew, as information was coming in, what we believed happened.
Well, actually, you mean you told the world 2 weeks after the whole thing happened, actually, on the 25th of September, you told the entire world, when you knew it wasn't true, that this was all about a video, right?
I have made it clear that the United States government had nothing to do with this video. And I believe its message must be rejected by all who respect our common humanity.
Yeah, anyway, MSNBC gave him a big get there, and more. Joe was like, was feeding him. Is it because of misinformation from the CIA? It's like, man, these guys, unbelievable. Hey, Ken, thanks for calling the show. How are you, sir? Well, Ken hung up. He said we should get a shout-out to the guards at Arlington standing at the Tomb of the Unknown. I told you about the fake pictures making their way out there. I told you about that one picture that you saw of the shark going through some kind of canal, and people email it. Did you see this shark going through this canal? It's a fake picture. And so is the picture of the guards standing at the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier. That's fake, too. There were guards there. I mean, there was like one guy there, but there's a shot of these three guards at the Tomb of the Unknown, and they're in driving rain. It's fake. It's not from the hurricane. It's from a storm before, but it's not from the hurricane. A lot of people photoshopping pictures and doing weird things. I guess because the devastation wasn't enough, so they had to fake it. 969-9797, 866-455-9797.